The reason that we decided to have this topic, first of all, for those of you who are going to be coming out to Omega in May, this is the theme for the week. And so one of the things that I was thinking is we have over the last 4 years focused on this topic at Omega, and there's some really practical things that we've done that I thought we would just share, and we can talk to you about the good things that have happened, some of the struggles that we've seen. Veronica has a letter from one of our participants that helps catapult some of these conversations. I still feel like we're just putting our toes in the water. So we are certainly not coming here as an expert on this topic, but we have a lot of practical tools that we've used that we are happy to share. And perhaps if in your own centers, any of these resonate, you may want to do the same. The most important thing we found from the get-go was we had to have everybody on board. The leadership team had to be in agreement that this topic, diversity, inclusion, was a priority for us. So I'm going to read a vision statement that we came up with, just so you have a sense of where Omega is with this at this point. Our working definition is, we recognize that systems of inequality and injustice are embedded in society, and therefore we must cultivate awareness about how this plays out in our own organization. We are committed to undoing harmful patterns in ourselves and advancing equality for all. We celebrate human diversity and recognize that it enriches our lives and our learning community. So from that premise, that vision statement, that's kind of the belief system that we have going on behind the scenes that is catapulting all the actions we've taken since then. And I'll let Veronica take it from here.
Some of the steps that we have dedicated to is having a bunch of trainings for our staff. And one of the programs that I participated in happened, and it was called Opening Doors, and I highly recommend it to anyone on your team or other folks to try it. It was a 3-day retreat, and they came to Omega. It was highly experiential, and it made us, we looked at how in society the systemic inequality between what is called and accepted as the dominator groups and the non-dominant groups. So it was like, we looked at, you know, people being segregated or put down because of age, race, religion, economic status, and we were all able to identify with all the different groups. And what happened, which I thought was great, is that we all developed our own personal stories, because basically it's about stories and connecting with another human on a heart level, not just their title, what they look like, but really getting into your backgrounds and beliefs. And what we have done from that is we've shared our stories with our executive team, and then we also had what we do once a week, and it's called our our staff sanctuary hour. So we had seasonal staff come and core staff, and we shared our stories, and then we invited them to share theirs, and it really started a great conversation and kind of brought us all together as humans, you know, rather than anything other than that. So that was just one of the many trainings that I personally got to participate in and that we are looking to do further.
It's obviously a worthwhile thing, and there are lots of worthwhile things that we could do. I'm curious if there's any metrics or definition of success, or do you monitor the change you've seen? You know, how do you hold this up and say, you know, it's been worth the investment and the focus we've put on this? Because in doing that, that means there's probably 2 or 3 other things that we haven't gotten to yet because we're focused on this. So how have you, if you will, justified that this is where you need to be spending time now?
So I have a question, and this is speaking in your vision statement to willing to look within. Having been involved with registrations and dietary needs, there are a lot of different dietary needs, and at the beginning I felt like I was very open to accepting all kinds of different needs. And then I discovered that I was really being run around by them. And I found it really challenging to go, okay, how do I be inclusive, acknowledging that people have different dietary needs for some very, important health reasons, and how do we streamline and run a center efficiently without catering to all these different things? So using that as a metaphor for this idea of being more accepting of others, because it really requires a shift within me or within your team in terms of what you're willing to do or not do. I was just wondering if you have any advice of where you found a balance there, or decisions that you made to meet that.
Great to meet you, and thanks for bringing up that topic on First Nations. Penny and I were just doing a little powwow, and that was the other thing that we would have mentioned as well, is that we are also, I won't say just starting, because Dane and the team for years have been working with our First Nations communities on the island, but we are delving into those conversations more deeply now, and it came up even just in our current year catalog, and how do we name the land and territories that we're on, and that opened a whole conversation, and we're just delving into that more deeply now. So we have some meetings planned with the Klahoo Center on the island. They've given some recommendations on how we better sort of integrate from an advisory role, from whether they take a look, almost audit some of our offerings and programs, and making recommendations and how we might integrate that. So I think we're just like on the precipice of these conversations, and any learnings or best practices, if it's helpful to this group, we're certainly happy to share it.
Wonderful.